What's up everybody, Super Diverks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2013 Ford Mustang Boss 302. Huge thanks to Harrison Auto Sales for hooking me up with this car to review for you guys today. So about the Boss 302, well this is the track focused Mustang, very aggressive, and I mean obviously this one in school bus yellow is the paint color. It's just hilariously loud and in your face and obnoxious, and I love it. I just think it looks awesome. The black wheels, and you know, they did the fog light delete in the front there on the Bosses, and they just look like a Boss. They just look awesome, and I'm sorry I had to do it. It's just so awesome looking, and yeah, a very beautiful car, just like the other 2013 Mustangs. I just love the way they look. Rights for the interior of the Mustang Boss 302. Well, first thing, getting in this car, very heavy doors. Everything just feels very solid in this car and manly and heavy, and that's just the way it feels. And then you sit down in this car and the dashboard comes up very high. I mentioned that briefly when I reviewed That Dude in Blue's regular 2013 Mustang GT. I feel small in this car. I mean, I'm a smaller guy, but I feel pretty small. You sit down low, especially with these Boss 302 seats. That's the next thing. Some of the best seats ever, probably. Just so fantastic. Very little wiggle room. It's very tight and just feels awesome. Next is the steering wheel in this car, which is really sweet. Very unique, you know, very Mustang. It's a little bit, it feels a little bit larger. Just, it feels like a big wheel. It's also because you're sitting down low again, so you have this huge wheel like right in your face, basically. But it's really a nice wheel. This one's wrapped in Alcantara, which is, you know, obviously standard for the Boss 302s, and you get a really good 9-3 grip even with the metallic parts here. Everything feels very high quality, by the way, all the buttons and everything, and just get a really nice good firm grip on this wheel. Tiny little 10-2 notches, but just really a spectacular wheel. Next is the gauges. I love the gauges in these cars, you know, just with the big dials, and they're circular and retro looking. This one, obviously being the Boss 302, has more modernized looking gauges, but it's still the same basic layout. And you have that cool little color screen in the middle that displays all kinds of cool information. Coming along to the center of the dashboard here, it's, you know, a fairly decent amount of buttons, but it's not too confusing. It's pretty straightforward. The Boss 302, since they're kind of a stripped out, you know, track focused version of the Mustang, you can't get the nice touchscreen head units in these, so it's just this basic old school you know, readout for your CD information and stuff like that. Obviously this car isn't very high tech oriented as far as, you know, gizmos and toys in here, but that's totally fine because the toy is under the hood of this car anyway. So yeah, I mean, it gets the job done. It's very easy to use. All the buttons have good resistance, feedback, and everything just feels pretty high quality for sure. It's definitely a step up from the you know, 05 to 09 generation Mustangs for sure. Storage space in this car is on the limited side though. I mean, not that that's too much of an issue for someone buying a Boss 302, but just in case you're wondering, tiny little map pockets here in the doors. You have your two cup holders, and then you have the center console here that is actually really deep though. You have a USB port, auxiliary jack, but yeah, that storage space is the same for any other Mustang too. So you know, the Mustang being a touring car for the most part, you know, you would hope that it would have more storage capacity, but these don't. But, you know, obviously you can toss stuff in the back seat if you need some more room. While we're talking about the back seat, by the way, you know, standard like the Mustang, you know, any other Mustang, it's very tight for the most part. I wouldn't put anyone back there on a regular basis, but it's fine for using in a pinch, and that's about it. Trunk space in the Mustang isn't always that great. You know, it's fairly shallow and not very deep, but I mean, it gets the job done. You can still fit, you know, hopefully 2 or 3 golf bags in there. All right, so let's start up and go for a drive. This is the standard key. The funny thing about the Boss key is there's a red one as well, and the red one's for track use only and unlocks more performance. So yeah, let's start up and go for a drive. It roars to life with that wonderful sounding V8. Alright, so setting off in the 2013 Boss 302. You guys can probably already guess I'm gonna love this car. I got a huge smile on my face just pulling onto the road here. So anyway, I'm gonna leave the driver's window down too, just so you can hear this glorious V8 the whole time. Anyway, so I'm on this park road here, and like any other Mustang, the visibility's pretty good. You know, windshield it's actually, it feels like it's like right in your face. It feels very close to you, but you have a very good view out, you know, and rear visibility is actually really good. Side windows you see out are just fine, and so that's really good. The one thing though about the visibility is the hood sits up higher, but that just kind of adds to the whole experience, and I think it's actually pretty cool. On this bumpy park road though, one thing I can tell you right off the bat is even though this is a track-focused Mustang, it's still more comfortable over these bumps than the Camaro Z28 was that I just reviewed recently. And so, you know, it's definitely stiffer than a regular Mustang for sure as well, but not so stiff that it's like breaking my back and it's just miserable. It's not that bad. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, I'd say. You know, it's not too jarring, and it's, you know, not so soft either. One thing about the Mustangs you notice right off the bat as well, especially the Boss 302 with this shifter, is that it's pretty precise. It's not the best in the world, but it is pretty precise. But it does take a little bit of muscle to get into gear sometimes, and you know, you just have to. This is just a manly man's car. I've said that in the past with other Mustangs and stuff, but that's really, you know, the kind of feel this car gives you. It's just oozing with testosterone, and it's really cool. Clutch in this car is a little bit on the heavier side. I think, you know, if you were sitting in traffic for a while, it would start to get annoying. But you know, in normal driving, it's not like overbearing at all. Another thing about this, especially in school bus yellow, is that everybody looks at it. Everybody. It's kind of funny. Alright, so that exhaust sounds so good. Let's turn on this back right here and see how it does. Point it straight. Go! I'm sorry, guys. So this car, 444 horsepower from this beautiful 5-liter V8 engine and 380 foot-pounds of torque. And this thing just, it revs really high though. It goes all the way up to 7,800 RPMs, which is just amazing. I'm sorry, I gotta like catch my breath. Wow. So, alright. Restarting here on these back roads, it actually, okay, you can feel the weight a little bit, but it's sharper. It's definitely sharper, and it feels lighter on its feet than that dude in Blue's Mustang, that's for sure. And so it feels pretty good. I think the steering is a nice weight. There could be more feel there, but it's a pretty good weight, and it actually feels pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised. It's they really did a lot of work to this Boss, you can tell. Alright, so coming up this tight corner I always take, let's see about this body roll. Okay, so it pushes, but it actually, it stays glued. I gotta say, I mean, you can feel the weight, for sure. It's a heavy car, there's no getting around that. But it actually held its own, and I'm pretty impressed with the way it handled that. Let's see about this power again then, shall we? Point it straight. Today's a good day. I drove a Boss 302. It's a good day. Anyone who's lucky enough to own one of these, every day must be a really good day if you drive this every day. It's just, and one thing, you know, even just in the first few minutes I've driven this, it feels really big when you first get in. It can get kind of intimidating, but the more that you drive it, the less intimidating the size of it all gets, and it starts to be a lot more accessible, and oh, is it just fun? I'm still laughing about it. So anyway, I'm gonna drive this car a little while longer here. I'll come back and give you some updated impressions about everything else, you know. But I mean, really, it's all good. The shifter is good. It's, you know, nice and notchy and positive, and everything just feels really good in this car. And I just, you know, I love it. I already love it. But yeah, let's drive it a little bit longer and see if anything else develops. All right, I've been driving this car for a while now, and before I say anything, let's just open up with a little tunnel. Oh, yes. So, take a wild guess as to how I'm liking the Boss 302. I love it. So, I might be biased going into this, but, you know, I mean, they did really improve this. This compared with that dude in blue's 2013 Mustang GT, the handling of this, it just feels lighter on its feet. It feels sharper. I mean, his didn't feel bad, and you kind of got into a groove with his eventually, but you can always feel that weight, and it's kind of always swinging around a little bit. This, it's not like that. It's just not. It's so much flatter. I mean, I'm going around some tighter corners now, and it's planted. You know, one of the things about this car that I really like about it is that you actually have to drive it. You're the one that's doing the work. It's work. I mean, not that it's like bad work, but you're doing work when you're putting it around a corner, when you're accelerating. I mean, because it gets a little squirmy under acceleration, and it's, you know, you have to focus on keeping it going in a straight line, keeping it going smoothly through the corners, and it takes work. This car won't just drive itself like some of the other sports cars out there, and it's just so impressive. But, you know, even when you're not pushing this car hard, it cruises down the road very comfortably. You know, it's very livable on a daily basis, and the clutch actually over time has started to feel even lighter than it did before. And so, you know, it's really, yes, this is a track focused car, but it doesn't beat you up, and it's not so, you know, uncivilized that you can't drive it on a regular basis, because you can. Even though it does sound like a wild animal that's snarling and it's just, I love it. This car has so much character, so much personality. Every time you drive one of these, it's an event. This is what a fun car is about to me. The Mustang just has it all, and it has it in spades. It's just so fun. It's fun. It might not be the fastest or, you know, whatever, the most powerful or any of that kind of stuff. 444 horsepower. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not a Hellcat with 700. But it's enough to have fun. You get to just ring out the engine and just get into it, and I love it. I love that. And, you know, the great soundtrack, and just the way that this engine goes all the way to almost 8,000 RPMs for a V8 is just insane. So, I mean, you don't even have to shift. You know, if you're really attacking corners, you can just leave it in a gear and just use that big wide power band, and there's just power all over the place too. There's no flat spot, there's torque everywhere, and it's just so well done. So yeah, this one is for sale from Harrison Auto Sales. Huge thanks to Harrison Auto Sales for hooking me up with this car to review for you guys today. I never really thought I'd drive a Boss. They're so rare, and it's just so hard to find, so it's just amazing to be able to drive one. So, and this one is available on their lot, so if you're interested in it, give them a call, and they'd love to help you out. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.